Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Chai and Cabins. We just wrapped up an awesome conversation with Steph. I feel like I should just call her Steph at this point. And Steph is an interior designer, so we go through all the fun stuff with interior designing, how to design for clients. But then we also really talk about what it feels like to manage your short-term rentals, pet fees. We went into husband and wife working in the business. Tons of great nuggets on this episode.
Oh yeah, 100%. We even talked a little bit about linens and what to have. Yes, I loved the pet fee information because you were just rolling in the dough when you're adding it onto your reservation. It was really fun. Steph has 20 years of experience in interior design. Now her and her husband now focus on short-term rental designs, but they're like such a cool match made in heaven because she's the designer and he's an artist. So it's a really fun episode to check out.
I agree. And by the way, Jen, I completely forgot to ask you, how is your week going?
My week's going well. Just again, still catching up. I feel like I say that every time I talk to you, but it's so true. But exciting. Maybe we're looking at some hotel deals this week. So, just rolling and going.
I love it. I'm about to send a contract to our third hotel client right
Yep.
after this call. So I'm excited. Let's keep going, right? It's just about leveling up to the next level.
Yep. Let's keep going. Let's go.
I think everyone's really going to enjoy this episode. This is special.
For sure.
Do some extra things with Steph. I'm working on a cabin for myself that we're doing with her. And so I'll add a link once that project's done and do a breakdown of the deal, how we found it, and the entire rehab process, which I've pretty much like basically given to Steph to run because I'm like, I'm not an expert in this. You are, so I love hiring people who are great at what they do. And I think we have tons of great nuggets on this episode.
Yep, we sure do. So tune in.
So Steph, you and I have been working together on a project. Jen introduced us. So
Yes.
start telling our listeners kind of how you got started in this space. I know you gave me a rundown when we started working together, but love to get your take. Tell me what your portfolio looks like, and then how did you get started in short-term rentals, but also with interior design.
Yeah, so my background is interior design. I got my degree almost 20 years ago. Well, I guess 20 years ago now, in interior design. And I've always worked as a designer. It's just like a true passion of mine to create spaces and that people love, that feel good. Just because um I'm very in tune with my emotions and so I know how a space can make somebody feel. It can make you feel bad or it can make you feel really great. Cozy, all those things. So anyway, I've done a little bit of everything, private aircraft interiors, retail product development, and I've always done residential design. And then as far so we've started our own company full time about almost 2 years ago, my husband and I. So we moved to Northwest Arkansas almost 5 years ago now, and things were just not. We had made some really great changes, but still not really like felt like we were taking control of like our life and the direction of it. And so we decided, we're gonna just gonna go out on our own. My husband's an artist, as you can see the wall behind me. He painted this, so he kind of brings my visions to life, and he's a handyman. And then I guess a couple of years ago as well, I was trying to really dive into like different streams of income and how to really like help my family's future. Because I just kind of feel like nowadays you really can't just rely on necessarily one thing. I've never had anybody in my family that was in real estate investing. I always kind of thought that that was something, like rich people just did, or this just wasn't for us or for me. And I started listening to a lot of different things, and I actually Googled how to make money with no money, how to start investing with no money, and arbitrage came up as an option. And I was like, what is arbitrage? And I was like, oh, I think I saw a TikTok video about this. And so anyway, so I just kind of started diving into that. And I thought, I mean, because it's, we have a little bit of money, but to really, purchase real estate, on multiple, when you're starting a business and multiple things, it's just kind of like, what's the reality of what we're looking at here? And so yeah, we actually stumbled onto a place, the place I'm sitting in right now. And so yeah, we started that this past July 4th was our first weekend that we were open. And so we've been doing really well. It's not booked right now because I'm sitting in it, but we really were gearing towards mountain bikers. So once we
And I,
opened this and I started kind of talking about it, I started thinking, why are we not doing this as more of a niche with design? I love to host, I love to create experiences, so why not do this? So we started picking up clients in short-term rental. I started networking in it for personal and for business, and here we are.
Jen, how many times have you Googled how to make money with no money? Because that is definitely on my search browser.
Right. I know. Oh my gosh. Well, and we've done we did the Amazon selling, which is something a lot of people start out doing. And now, and
Mhm.
like I've dabbled in like the print on demand with KDP through Amazon as well. And I mean, yeah, I hear that. Like, and there's so many things that you can go into down the rabbit hole in for that too. So
Yeah,
it's crazy. But we started with rental arbitrage as well, which I think was one of the reasons why we connected.
that's
Um,
right.
and now we're just like friends and we hang out and talk. I mean, I feel like I call you every week about something. So
I know. I think I texted you at 6 o'clock this morning. It was just Jen with like a whole bunch of exclamation points.
but yeah, like I mean, I'm so thankful that we connected, and then also just like the network that you can find online, and also with short-term rental people is just really amazing. Um, Very grateful to have connected with you and Rashmi, of course. So,
Yeah, same likewise.
but yeah. So I know you've actually had a lot of projects lately for short-term rentals. Can you kind of tell us like one of your favorite ones you've been working on recently?
We've done a lot more short-term rentals than residential projects, which is really exciting. It kind of ties into my past in model homes. Actually, Chris and I were talking about that the other day because he worked with me at that company as well. So it's kind of a toss-up. We have a lot of favorites right now, but um, most clients let me kind of have some sort of freedom. And one client in particular, he's got several properties around Bentonville, and he really just kind of like lets me run with my imagination. So he's got two smaller houses. One's a 2-1 and one's a 2-2, off a major trailhead here in town in Bentonville. And they're older properties. He's had them as short-term rentals for about 7 years. And so he's like, hey, they're renting. They just need to be updated, And so I'm like, okay. And so I think he actually, I connected with him because he saw a picture of this mural and something I posted. So anyway, we recently finally got to that property and
Can I ask you, you mentioned something really important here, which is you posted something like this mural and a client found you
Mhm.
just on social media. I'd love to hear more about that because I think I'm so hesitant to post on social media for like whatever reason in my head.
Well, that circles back to like my mentor talking about showing up just as who you are on social media and quit trying so hard to like filter yourself so much. Um, because that's just not who you are. So, and I feel like, I am good with people. And so, and it's hard for me to be fake. So I kind of had to get over myself. I mean, I make spelling mistakes a lot. Like I am so far from perfect. I try to be professional, but I am who I am. So I try to, and I use humor a lot to ice things over.
I love that. It's been a lot
Um,
in life.
but the property, he let us run with it. So it's slaughter pen. I know it sounds gross, but yes, it used to be like have slaughterhouses in the area. So we did this really great like pig wallpaper, and it's really modern, and it's kind of the black and white. We painted the cabinets green. We've got live edge in there, wood. So it's really fun. Really fun. We did a bike map mural of the trail that's right there, right by it. So that might be one of my favorites.
Yeah. I think to give some context, so we live in Northwest Arkansas, and this is the place where Walmart started. So the Waltons have put in a ton of money to really build up this community. And the mountain biking trails are one of the largest draws to this area. So I know Stephanie's worked on several projects that have really,
Yeah.
you
We're
know,
now the mountain biking capital of the world is what they've pegged Northwest Arkansas as. So Bentonville has a lot, and Bella Vista, there's this, and then there's actually a trail that goes all the way from Missouri all the way, through Bella Vista all the way down to through Fayetteville. So it's
Oh,
crazy.
wow. Stephanie, if you don't mind me taking you back in time a little bit, you were working kind of corporate America, you came out with an interior design degree from college. Life is pretty good. Like you have two kids. What gets you guys to make the jump into entrepreneurship? Because I see so many wannabe entrepreneurs, incredibly talented, but just like cannot make the jump. What?
Um, the honest answer is that I was working for such a toxic company that it finally pushed me over the edge because I was, I feel like I was kind of conditioned as a child to always do the safe thing, get a good job, get insurance, security with the paycheck every 2 weeks. You go to work, doesn't matter if you like your work or not necessarily, like this is what you do. And you'll have a good life. So I'm like, I just felt, we felt like we were living in a hamster wheel. And so I couldn't continue. And then, yeah, I finally had just had enough. I was in such a toxic environment that it really just pushed me over the edge. That and a year before I did it, I had started, doing some business coaching and some mentorship and stuff, and that really helped as well. I 100% believe if you are headed down the path of wanting to get involved in your own thing, like seek guidance, definitely.
I think that's one thing we can all like 100% agree on. We're all in some form of paid mentorship. Um, Pretty expensive ones at that. They weren't like when I first joined, I was like, this is pricey. And
Yeah.
it changed my life and my income.
No, seriously, I had to take a break once we started the business. My year was up like shortly after we started the business. So my goal this year, because I'm like a year and a half out, I'm like, okay, I need to get back into the one, she started actually a new kind of shift from where she was prior. So I'm very anxious to get back to that because it's part of my business coaching and stuff. So it's time to get back into that investment.
Is this like an interior design like mastermind, or is it strictly like
Kind of, it's called, well, yeah, it's for creatives. So, it's called Design You. She's a interior designer, but she's also a life coach. And then she has, business coaches and life coaches that work for her as well. And so creatives are not necessarily known for their abilities to run successful businesses. So, and she is successful. And so she really helps us with a lot of that as well. So it's personal and business, it's all in one. So,
yeah. I think one of the things I've seen, because like we work with a whole bunch of interior designers, is you're one of the probably the only person I've met who actually understands short-term rentals and real estate like combined together and like how to decorate for them. Because most residential interior designers have no idea why I have to say no to 80% of their ideas.
that's
Because
interesting.
yeah, we like I like finding labor and talent for that is way tougher than most people realize.
That's interesting. I don't, one of the things that I pride myself on is function. Form follows function. So, I mean, if it doesn't function and it's pretty, there's not really no point unless it's just for pictures or something. Unless
yeah.
you just have loads of money and you can just have pretty spaces or something. But yeah, I mean, I really design for the function, and the last thing I want is for a client to call me and be like, this failed because of XYZ. And I think one of the things that the reason why I think about that so much is because one of my first clients was also one of my friends. And bought this sofa, and come to find out the type of material on the sofa was not a good sofa for them because they have dogs, lots of dogs and dogs on the furniture. And that material held onto the dog hair. And I have never forgot that because it was such a fail in my book, which of course she was not mad. There was no like ill, but I have just like, oh my God, that was a total fail.
I love the fact that you brought that up because that's something like I maybe wouldn't even like tune in on. I'd be like, cool. Like it's not even something, but the fact that you thought of it, I'm like, that's genius. Like that's not something that ever comes up. Jen, do you ever think about sofa material and dog hair?
I mean, I think maybe after the fact, no. We actually don't really allow pets in most of our properties. But I will tell you what, when I do a quality check on a property that does allow pets, I have my little dust buster so I can go in and make sure that the fur is off the couch, the chairs. Just in case the cleaners missed it, yeah.
I
I'm
hate hair.
across the board. Like I would tell owners like you have got to go dog friendly. I think what's the statistic? Like 60% of US families travel with their dog. Like I actually calculated once I paid my entire mortgage based on pet fees for like 1 month.
That's awesome. What are you charging for a pet
I'll say
fee?
we need to talk about these pet fees.
Well,
Do you do it per by reservation or
so we used to do like $25 a day per pet kind of thing. And then my team actually got back to me and said, Rashmi, this isn't the best way to do it. So we then moved to, I'm gonna sound awful. I don't know what the exact price is right now. It's either $125 or $150 per pet for the stay. So we get a lot of 2-night reservations. So the 125 or 150 like makes up then rather than charging like 25 a night. And I go crazy. I'm like, bring 3 dogs, sure.
oh
I'll take
yeah.
them out. I'm happy to pay the cleaners extra if they need it. Most cleaners don't in my market ask for extra unless there was like really a bad issue with hair. And what I find is more of the people are happy to pay it because think about it. If you had to put your dog up in boarding, it's close to $100 a night. And you're not even with them. So I just called like a couple of pet resorts in my area. Sorry. And I asked them like, how much is it? And they were like, yeah, it's like, $80 a night plus XYZ. And I don't even get to be with my dog. And so, and we've never in 3 years had a pet do any damage. Humans, on the other hand, are a different story. But
Yeah.
You guys allow cats, you just allow dogs.
just dogs, I have taken my own personal cat to my properties, and it's been perfectly fine. I do allow cats for my midterm rentals.
I was gonna say I was gonna allow one cat for this lady. She ended up not coming, but I had to think about it for a while.
Mhm, mhm.
And I'll charge them back. Like we had one dog like on a midterm rental. He like scratched the door, and it was like I don't know, like $200-300 to fix it. And the owner was like, "Hey, we made the mistake. We're owning up. Like, how much do we owe you?" And it was a nice booking. I was like, "Don't worry about it." But highly, highly recommend. I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table, including because I mean, like 1 weekend is $300 extra. So 300 times 4 weekends in a month, it's 1,200 plus.
Sounds like I need to up my pet fee.
Yeah.
When we do it 150 per reservation. But a lot of times our owners do not want to have a pet in the property. So
Yeah, a lot of it was just us having conversations with owners and being like, we understand if this is like a personal home for you and like you don't want it, like we understand and respect it. But if we want to make some money,
yeah, add the pet. Yeah.
I prefer the pets to kids, I'll be honest.
Oh my gosh, yes, we've had kids who have like drawn with crayon on the floor, on the couch.
Yeah,
It's
They're
crazy.
crazy. I mean, I have 3 kids, they're
I would
crazy.
say I have them. They're crazy.
They're feral. Mm.
They- Even the trained ones. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
I feel like we're off topic. I just like had to go on my pet.
Sorry.
My
Yeah.
pet.
No, I'm glad you did because I was like, I'm about to go increase my pet fee when we get off this call.
Yeah,
You should.
people are more than happy to. I thought people wouldn't pay it. I generally thought that, and it's not been
Yeah.
true at all.
See, that's the designer me too. Sometimes I get a little too nice. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think sounds
But
like I mean, all I told them, I was like, if you don't want to pay me, that's totally fine. You'll have to put your pet up in a pet boarding thing, and it's
I
gonna be.
never even thought about, isn't that funny? I never even thought about the boarding part of it.
Mhm.
And I would recommend like definitely going ahead and adding the fee on the listing so that it's already there instead of as opposed to letting them know
Oh, right.
the listing and the house rules and then like sending them a money request. Like just go ahead and take it
Yeah.
up front.
Just know that in Airbnb, I believe you can only do one pet. So if you,
Hmm.
I allow like two or three. So the second and third, you have to go manually charge.
You know, that's a good call out too. I don't know if I don't think I've been doing that. I haven't really had more than one pet though, I don't think.
I go
Oh,
crazy.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I've had people. I had this one lady. Oh my God, she bought four pets, and I was like, "It's $1,200, baby. I'll take it." And so I did. I'm like zero filter. I'm like, I should paid it. And my cleaners, they're like, Rashmi, this place is dirty. We're gonna charge you. They charged me $150, and I was like, here's 300. I still made like $900. Like I have zero filter when it comes to. I'm like, I'm here to serve people. Like, if you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you wanted, so
Yeah, that's awesome.
that's great. Yep, raising the pet fee.
Yep, I agree. So Stephanie, I know a lot of people in this kind of short-term rental space, they look to self-design and they're like, I gotta save some money. This is one place they're like thinking about cutting costs. I've always been really clear on my end. I'm like, I always hire a designer. I don't have time to go to Pinterest. Like, and I'm stuck at it and like I waste hours, so I just like outsource everything. What
Yeah.
would you say to people like that? And do you have any tips for people who are like, listen, I really have it. It's my first project. Anything that you recommend, any resources they can look at?
Yeah. So the first part of the question, so usually what I tell potential clients is, because I'm the same way. I like to do things that I think we can do, aka my husband doing breaks on the stuff. Like anything I think that we can do to help us, we try to do. So I totally get that. But what I like to tell potential clients is you're basically your insurance, that your money that you're investing is going to get um used properly, and it's going to get invested properly. Because when it comes to your home, even or an STR, it's still the home, it's personal investment, and a short-term rental or a midterm rental, it's business. So um either way, you want it to be a good thing, and you don't want to waste your money on stuff that breaks or doesn't work or looks terrible. Um because there can be a lot of competition out there. So and then the second part, as far as tips, I don't know, there might be things that people know and things that people don't know. So some of the tips people might know is definitely about like lighting, making sure you're putting different, multiple levels of lighting, lamps, stuff like that. Nobody likes to put rugs in short-term rentals. I don't know why. Rugs do not have to be expensive. Wayfair has, you can get a rug from Wayfair in like a day or two for like $150. So please put the appropriate size rug in a bedroom or somewhere. I feel like a lot of short-term rentals I stay in, there are no rugs. You get out of the bed, there's nothing. So I think that helps a lot too with sound and just making the space feel better. So lighting, rugs, and then I recommend, I know Jenna like this, keeping the beds white, and then you can add color with throw pillows and quilts, really easily, like things that can be washed or switched out easily. And a lot of the places that I order from, I mean, a lot of people too, I think, have reservations because they think designers are going to, one, not necessarily design for what they need it for, right? That it's just going to be some designery or whatever, um, that's not gonna like function properly. So when they're looking for a designer, things that they can ask is, have you designed for short-term rentals before? Do you have things that are, I keep in mind the cleaners, right? Is it easy for the cleaners to clean and maintain? like surfaces and things, as well as how things are getting used. So the majority of the budget will go towards things like seating and sofas and mattresses, like things that really need to hold up and need to be comfortable. And then making sure that those things are protected, bed bug covers, like that's going to be your next expense, and making sure that you have decent sheets. So one of my shout outs is the Sam's 450 thread count hydro cotton sheets. For a king, it's about 79. I'll buy 3 sets for the bed. Totally worth it. They will wash amazingly well. And then I do a lot of stuff off of Wayfair. You can price compare off of Amazon. Sometimes I just am not as sure about that. So I do a lot off of Wayfair, and then Facebook Marketplace, baby.
Stephanie, do you recommend people, if they're trying to self-design, go with the specific theme for their property?
Yeah, I recommend that you pick a theme, and not necessarily like a character theme or like a birthday party type theme. So like the theme of our property here is we're catering towards mountain bikers. So our first floor here is a mountain bike lounge. They can bring their bikes in, and I really picked like a color palette. When you keep things cohesive with like a minimal amount of colors and you spread that one color out. So my main color here is the green. So that's kind of my theme, is the green and the gold and like the live edge wood. So I just carry that throughout the entire, with a little bit of a modern flair. We've got black metals. So you can call that a theme, because I'm kind of going for like a rustic modern, a little bit of a little masculine. So yes, I would pick a theme and stick to it and bring your outside in. So and I'm not saying you have to bring like a tree in. I'm saying images, or local art, depending on what the area is. So in our area, we have a lot of local artists and a lot of beautiful scenery to take pictures of. So every picture in my place here is actually of a park that is right down the street that has trails and waterfalls. Just so, I mean, if they can't get out, they can see it, or they'll see it and want to go over there because that's part of what it is. So
I love it. So one thing you mentioned was 3 sets of sheets. I also do 3 sets. Do you want to tell everybody why it's 3?
yeah, so one for the bed that it's on, one to keep as an extra set in case the guests have an issue while they're here. Because who knows what'll end up happening if they don't have something to if there's an accident. And then the other one is out being laundered. So, which I could get on a whole soapbox about laundry. I've been doing my own laundry for our unit, and I just started a laundry service, and it's like the best thing's ever happened in my entire life.
Wait, back up. Tell me about this. There's not enough money in the world for me to do laundry. I was literally like, I jumped on this call trying to figure out who I could hire to do my laundry.
That's what I told you. I'm willing to do just about anything to save a dime. That's what I was like. I kept.
Like, how much can I pay somebody to do this? Like, I will not be doing this anymore.
Yeah. So that's what we like to keep on hand. And plus too, then if something happens to a set, you have a set to get you by until you can do a reorder. If you don't have something stocked, depending on how many properties you have, you may not have an extra set on hand somewhere in the background.
You mentioned you have a laundry service as well, like for short-term rentals?
I don't own it, but I've started to use one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree. My cleaners use them because we have some big properties and we don't have enough washers and dryers on that property.
Yeah. It's really, it's such a huge task, and it requires so much time. So, and not only that, but the people that I'm trying out right now, their equipment is so good that it gets out stains and things incredibly well, like not like our regular machines. So yeah, that was really nice. I was like, oh, look at this.
I know a lot of hotels use that service where they have laundry. You can have like a facility in your basement, or you can just do offshore and they just bring you like flushed linens. They
Yep.
do this in restaurants too, where you can just have somebody that brings you like towels and aprons.
Mm-hmm.
Just grab and then toss it in like a basket and they pick it up.
So nice.
It makes life so much easier. I will still tell everybody just based on like my 2 cents is if this is your first or your 10th short-term rental, always hire a designer. Like I literally will not buy a property unless it's in the budget to hire a designer.
I do. I think a lot of people leave out the interior in the budget when they're thinking about it. I think it's hard for people to really understand how much it costs to furnish a place because people don't just furnish houses at one time all the time. I mean, it's just don't do that on a normal basis unless you've had, some event where you've had to replace everything in your house before, which is not, hopefully not often.
What
So
are some things you think people maybe forget, like little detailed things? Like you mentioned, the zipped bed bug mattress protectors. But like what are some other things you feel like people sometimes forget about?
you would be
When
surprised at the lack of people who put covers on even mattress covers and pillow covers, which is, I don't know, that's just an ick thing for me though. So ooh, I don't even want to sleep.
Yeah, I know. It's gross.
Um, I think the other thing, I think people just forget about making themselves the guest when they're doing this, I mean, if you're not gonna, or even, I mean, as you were saying, Rashmi, that you've, had a high percentage of designers that didn't really understand the short-term rental aspect of it. Um, I just lost my total train of thought.
Being their own guest.
Yes. So that's part of the thing. I think you just forget, like, what do you want when you go stay?
Mhm.
When you're paying to stay at another property, like, what do you want? Like, what would you want? So, and not only that, this is not your house. You don't have to play it safe with the decor. You don't have to, like, you don't have to have everything so neutral, like, have fun with it because you're not in it. It's a temporary space for someone to have a fun experience in, while they're going out of town somewhere.
The reason I just budget having an interior designer in there is people book with their eyes. So I want that first photo, the first 5 photos, like I want it to pop like this. And I want them to go, this is the only place I'm going to book. And like the interior designer, like the eye when like your wall, I was like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Like that's the kind of space I want to be in, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's what I think that some people just kind of like forget about that, when they're doing it, It's just like one of those things what you just said with the pet fee or whatever. I was like, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about boarding the dog.
It's the little things that'll make all the difference in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
think of all like the big picture items, like in real estate investors, especially, they'll be like, it's $5,000 to replace the roof or 10 grand, but they won't budget 5 grand for a bedroom.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is an expensive game to be in. Like, there's a lot of cash that goes in when you're
Uh-huh.
long property. And I think there's this whole process, like you've made your down payment, you're at closing table, title's freaking out, you're putting all this money in, you close on the property, and then you're having to make another substantial investment into the decor, and it's not like a fix and flip, right? Like in a fix and flip, like you're gonna make that money back the second you sell it, but like this is a long hold game.
Yeah.
And people just don't plan it. I see so many investors that even we work with that I'm like, you didn't plan for this, did you? And we
Nope.
introduce them to designers because I'm like, dude, like I'm not a professional designer. I can't do this for you. I can help you and I can tell you, but like I can't do it.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I love that. When people decide that they just need to hire outside their wheelhouse. And I do that. I've been getting a lot better at that. See, I've hired laundry service. I'm about to have him come pick up my own laundry too.
I,
Yeah.
I
If my
was
husband wasn't so good at the laundry, thank God for him. If anything happens to him, we're getting a laundry service.
so let's talk about that. How is it working with your husband? Like that's something I'm always curious about. On camera recorded.
Oh.
Oh, Jen's gonna be like, she's lying. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's actually improved our personal relationship a lot more. We've been together for 20 years now dating. We've been married for, it'll be 15 this year. So we've grown, growing old together. I'm starting to date myself here. But so we've been through a lot. We've grown a lot. I was 20, he was 21. So we're a lot different than we were then in certain ways. In certain ways we're not. Like anyway. But we've always struggled with our communication, always. And running a business together, you have to communicate. I mean, we're working with each other. And not only that, but it's also called Stephanie Strack Interiors, which we're actually gonna which is me. So and really when we started, it wasn't really what it quickly evolved into. So we're about to rebrand to Strack Interiors. So the site and stuff I just bought is that. So I'm gonna evolve that way. But anyway, it's actually really helped in our communication. So there are times where we want to kill each other, but we also we're actually really a good team. And so we've tried to joke around about things a lot more. And then I think I'm also like, we're learning. I'm better at observing everything and I make our schedule, I do all this. And so, I can see what his strengths are and like what he tells me, I'm like, what do you want to be doing in the business? So he wants to be being artistic and hanging wallpaper and painting murals. So, working to find him help in that ways, but communication is key and it has helped. So it's been interesting to say the least. We need a sitter. I need some more date nights, but it's good.
I love how you guys have, it's like the perfect marriage though, like of the business, because you're the designer and he's the artist. And it's just like this perfect relationship and partnership. Cause like you said, you come up with the ideas and he executes on them so well. So it's fun to watch you guys do these projects.
He's at home coming up with like a mural right now for a client. And some of this art, like it's not like I can kind of envision, but I'm not an artist. Like I'm not a painter, I'm not gonna, I don't I don't have the patience for that type of detail. Like I can envision the space and I can know all the details about the space, but when it gets down to the itty bitty tiny details, like I need help with that. And he's really good at like that. And so he was asking me opinion about he's painting it on a canvas and then he's going to put it on the computer and project it and then paint it on the wall. So he's asking me my opinion about some of this, but he also takes it very personal. So I'm kind of like, there's a fine line that I have to play with him sometimes. So, but I've been trying to get him, I've worked in product development where everybody and their brother has an opinion about your work, the buyer, the boss, the owner of the store, the factory, everybody has an opinion about your work. So I've had to get thick skin, because being a designer is very personal because it's my work. So yeah, I'm like, you gotta get tougher, buddy.
That's a good point though, because I was just thinking that today, like we had a situation recently with an owner, right? And it's like I take it, right,
Yeah.
personally, but I have to get better about taking the emotion out of it and just being like, this is a business partnership and sometimes things happen that don't feel great, but stop, you have to take the emotion out of it. It's hard. It's hard to do.
Well, that's what we had a client who wanted Chris to do a mural out, and I had nothing to do with the rest of the short-term rental. But they saw some work that we had done and said, hey, I think we want to work with you on some of our properties. Can we start with this mural? So I went over, met him, went over all the details of the mural, put it all in a quote in writing, everything we talked about, sent it to him. They signed it, paid the deposit. We sent them visuals because Chris will put it in like Adobe Illustrator to give people like a scale visual as much as we can of the artwork. Like so people can see it because it's hard for people to visualize art, stuff. So sent the approvals, they approved everything. He painted and they were like, oh, is that it? We thought it was going to be different. I mean, it looks great. But we thought that the background was going to be navy. The background was white. I mean, there was never anything. I mean, I was so caught off guard. So I had to take a second and be like, okay, like calm down, because I wanted to be like, take my earrings out, start throwing hands, but I'm like, hold on. So I took a breath, and I was like, oh, well, what can we do to, like we worked it out. We had great conversation and they paid to have him, redo it how they wanted it. Like everything worked out beautifully. And then he finally, like he was very upset at first. And I was like, they're literally paying you again to do what you like to do. So like,
It's all about perspective, right? So one of the things I've had
Mhm.
to do for myself is like, how can I serve others better? So when I get on an owner call, I'm like, how can I serve you? Like
Yeah.
what are you struggling with, and like how can I help? And that's changed the entire conversation because at that
It
point,
did.
it's not about me, it's about them,
Yes, that's what
right?
I was like, we want to give you what you want. So, like, let us, how can we, like, let's work together to get this corrected, and they were like, okay, great, because it could have gone really poor. I mean, it could have gone extremely bad
Mhm.
if I, handled it differently.
I think that was such an important point you made because I think we have a lot of instances with like even guests, right? Like it's really hard, it's really easy to get on the negative like right off the bat. Like
Get defensive.
typical guest. If they ask me about the door code, like I'm already like, oh no. Which is why I don't handle guest comp for my company. I also have realized that when other people are handling it, like they're much better at that than I am. But again, it's all about them. Like this life is meant to serve other people. So like, how do I serve you better? Like, what do I need to do? And that like changed everything for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good way to put it.
So, what are some favorite projects of yours that people can see? Like, do you have an Instagram? Do you have a Twitter handle? YouTube? Where can they find you?
So I'm trying to get more up on the social because I feel like my social dates me. Because I'm still in the Facebook era a lot. We get so much business through Facebook. So we do have
Right there. Hang on, just like I have one question. Can you
yeah.
tell us like what's your and I'm not talking like strategy, but like what are you doing on Facebook? Because again, like it doesn't matter which social media platform you're getting your leads from. I mean, if you're closing money and you're closing clients and making money, like yeah, let's go. Like what do you do on Facebook?
Um just visual. I mean, and it's funny because and progress photos. So Chris hates when I post progress photos. Like for a while, he quit sending me pictures when he was out because I would post them. And to him, he's like, it's not done. You can't show people. But to me, I'm like, but I want to keep people coming back, like I want to give them, I need to tell people, like, I don't know. So I just have a different view on it. So anyway, we've actually had some people comment to us in person, like, oh, I love the progress photos, blah, blah, blah. So now he's back to sending me photos. So I don't know. I do some progress photos for a while. I was trying to do like mural Mondays. People really respond to a lot of the visuals. I mean, when I am doing stuff with wallpapers and murals, like things that are very eye-catching, or the process of us starting something.
Do you record that on like a time lapse video?
Okay, so I have started to try to do some of that, and I have posted some of Chris doing wallpaper on a time lapse because we actually did like a ceiling for an HGTV because there's an HGTV show that films in our area. And so anyway, we had got caught up in this wallpaper. Anyway, so yeah, so I had started doing some time lapse because they needed some video footage and stuff too, which then made me realize that we need longer shirts because he's putting his arms up in the air. Yeah, so I'm trying to get better. Actually, that's what one of my next things is to get another phone so we can help record us with things because I'm trying to get him like recording with him while he's painting and things. And so, and also I seasonal decorate, holiday decorate. So I did a lot of the before and after, or like some of the videos with that. So Facebook is really, I've been getting a lot that, and I network in a lot of groups, a lot of, because I am, getting into, real estate investing and that stuff. So I'm in female investor groups with that. as well as different Airbnb groups or short-term rental groups, networking, learning, we have a property, and then, so I will post stuff I've done in there,
So are
and so
these
other,
groups, or are these like meetup, like real life groups?
no, just Facebook groups. Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of people like locally. I also I have a Google business page. A lot of people said they found me on there just through the Google business. So I'm like, okay. And then Thumbtack, which shout out to Jen for the Thumbtack. Um I'm pretty sure. Aren't you the one who told me to
Don't
get
know.
Thumbtack?
I mean, maybe.
I'm pretty sure. Because somebody
Okay.
else I talked to was like, what's Thumbtack? And I was like, my friend Jen was like, get Thumbtack. And I was like, okay. So yeah, I've gotten a lot of business through Thumbtack. So I know that's not like a social media, but it's still, they have an app and everything. So we've gotten a few through there for the short-term rentals.
I love it. Just in my whole thing about giving advice to people who don't need it and when I won't do it. But you should be on YouTube. I'm like a big proponent of YouTube because
So I'm totally down for all of that. My next goal is like TikTok mainly because I'm obsessed with TikTok, but YouTube, I like that. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's the video. I'm just trying to get the video version. And a lot of designers are on Instagram. And in my age progression, I kind of missed the Instagram boat when it was coming out socially. So I've never just been too big on it. And I just feel so overwhelmed sometimes with wearing all the hats that I have to wear, and all the things that I have to learn for. So I'm actually in the process of trying to find somebody to help me with social.
I agree. I think social media is just as overwhelmed, right? For me,
It's
and Instagram for me is tough as well. So I hang out on real estate Twitter and I hang out on YouTube. Like I have two platforms to cut everything else basically out, unless my team
okay.
is using it and sends me a lead. But
Okay.
I don't have the time, like straight up. I love Facebook. The reason I'm a little wary on Facebook is I have family members on there, and
Mm.
it's just me. It's not nothing to do with them. It just puts me in a weird like mental thing. Trying to get
Yeah.
better. But real estate Twitter and YouTube, and with YouTube, people can just find you forever. So I just get a lot of people who ask me questions, and it's easier to be on YouTube and be like, here's like answer this question 5 weeks ago. Here you go. You can just watch the video now.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. That's funny. So you said you don't like to be because you don't want people that you know seeing what you're doing really?
Yeah, I think there's a different version of me, kind of, with my family. And a lot of it is kind of like upbringing, a whole bunch of it is just me being like, I don't know what they would say, I don't know what they would think. And like the overthinking makes me not post. So I was
That's
like,
what,
doing all
and
of that, can I just be on a different platform and just like be authentically myself? And I found and the other reason for me is like I'm not a designer, so it's hard for me to take nice photos, like they don't look cute, like it's not pretty. So with Twitter, I don't have to, it's all just text. Like Instagram,
Mhm.
I feel like perfect to be on it. And
Yeah.
so and then like you have to upload in this. With Twitter, I can just be like I can type all day long. I'm like, here's what I think, here's my opinion, here's my thought. And the connections you make on Twitter are like next level.
Mm.
There's this guy who's in my mastermind. His friend is also on Twitter, and he did a whole fireside chat about how I raised $10 million off Twitter. Just like solely
Yeah,
off.
I guess I'll be joining Twitter next.
I know. Well, Rashmi, you said real estate Twitter. What do you mean by real estate Twitter?
So I only follow people that are in real estate. It's not like there's like a community
That's
thing.
just what she calls it.
Because I'm like, what's that?
My own like bubble. And then anytime Twitter will try and put something like political, I'll just be like mute, do not, like I don't ever want to see that again on my feed. And every list I follow is only real estate and small business owners. So connect with tons of people. Actually, was just speaking to a guy who owns a laundry facility in Austin and Houston, and they're expanding to other areas. And they were talking about like they come to your house, they pick up all your dirty laundry, take it off site, launder it, fold it back, and bring it to you. And it's like they charge you per pound or something, and it's
Mhm.
free delivery. And I was like, that sounds amazing. But you just meet like insane people on Twitter. But again, like that was a platform that worked for me. I'm not saying it works for everybody, but it got me over that like barrier. Like I just took out everything that was causing the barrier for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yep. Sometimes you just gotta put it out there. But yeah, we're working on a social for the next. It's very consuming, and me trying to do videos. I can't, I mean, it'll take me 6 hours to create a video. I mean, I get so I've tried a few and they're fine, but I'm like, no.
Stephanie, do we need to get you a VA? I feel like we need to get you a VA.
Yeah, I did just hire an assistant. So
Oh,
I've started her. So she's part-time. So we just need a couple more bigger contracts, and then we'll be good to go.
a VA will change your life. You know, like die. I mean, my VAs like saved my ass. They do a lot of my social media. I do all of my content origination, but like a lot of posting. Really
So
like.
they do your social.
So I'm on Twitter, like it's me, and then I do like the video recordings, but like everything else is my VAs. Like they're over there like uploading, editing, posting. I have a
Yeah,
weird
you need
anxiety.
to get that.
I have a weird anxiety about like posting on YouTube, like again, just
Yeah.
it's like a mental barrier. So I just have her post it. So then like I don't see it. Like she'll just be like, "Hey, it's posted," and I'm like, "Oh my God," right? But yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And like I know if it was me, I would never post it. Like I know that. So just being aware and taking out everything in your life that's like making you not do it. So I was like, well, if she did it, then it wouldn't matter to me, right? Like then I would be okay. So
Oh, I
cool.
like that. Maybe I do need to get a VA for that.
They will change your life. Guarantee it. Like
I need
they're
one for my life too.
yeah. I have mine do everything for me, including order my groceries. Like I'm just like,
Oh, well, okay, I do need one. Yep, send it this way.
they have like they'll get Walmart, they'll get Whole Foods, whatever. They're just like, yeah, we
I
got
just,
it. And no,
speaking of assistant, I know I told my husband today, I'm like, it must be nice to have an assistant, a personal assistant.
I live on it. Mine will even text me and be like, "Hey, your groceries are in front of your house. Did you check?" And I'm like, "Oh, I did not. I will
Yeah,
go."
send me your link.
Yeah.
Send me your link.
Where can oh, sorry, go ahead, Jen.
Oh no, I was gonna say yeah, but where can they find you, Stephanie? How can people find you if they want to learn more about you?
So you can find me Stephanie Strack Interiors on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram. There's Stephanie Strack Interiors, but the one for some reason that is synced with my business page is my personal, which is 4-Pack Strack, PAKSTRACK. The number 4-Pack Strack. So it just syncs automatically to my Instagram page. So I actually had a social person say, "Oh, does that just come from your Facebook? It looks very Facebooky." Quit trying to make me feel old.
Uh,
And then yeah, that's really the best. We're getting ready to launch our website soon. So we've got all that. It's just I have to have the time to finish those few little details. So but yeah, that's probably the best place to reach us. And then my email is my name. Stephanie Strack, STRACK. So I'll just start from the beginning. STEPHANIE and then interiors with an S @gmail.com.
Perfect. We'll add all of that in the show notes. So if you guys are driving, you can hear it. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This was so fun chatting with you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. This was
thank
great.
you.